Hello, sir. Thank you today for meeting with me to talk about this hard topic of the layoff. I have really put together this presentation, this PowerPoint, that will kind of go over what I feel was most need to be talked about for how we handle this the best. So, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the risk of talent management. So, the issue that we have here is that if we tell everyone that we're letting them go and we don't give them a lot of feedback or reason, we risk the lack of effort where employees just won't try or they will just be like, okay, do a half job, do the minimum, and not give their all, which can be very understandable knowing that you're losing your job and you're being fired. There's hurt feelings that go around. And so we need to make sure that we address these risks before we have a plan before we do any actions. Another thing is the frustration, like I talked about, emotions are going to be everywhere and high, and especially like times right now with the pandemic going on, people are having a hard time with like feeling trapped or having a hard time. They can take out their anger on a situation. And I feel that one of the situations could be being frustrated at other employees, not respecting their their managers on the field, and just are taking advantage of any situation and just being angry. And then the other risk we have is no commitment. If you're being fired, yes, what we can do is like maybe not give them the best letter of recommendation, but they don't need to show up to work. They can just let it go. And the thing is, these are 45 employees that have done a really good job. These employees aren't just someone that messed up and is getting fired. These guys are going to be going through a hard time, and I know like this isn't an easy decision, but I mean it's what's been happening in the world. From the U.S. government, their stats is out of unemployment, 38.9% were from people who lost their jobs. So it's what's happening right now. It's the it's what's going on in this world, and we need to make sure that we don't just abandon our employees. And we need to make sure we can get the most out of them until we close on April 2nd. The next step is we need to talk about how we're going to lay them off. I wrote down three characteristics that we need to make sure we focus on to this plan. We need to make sure that the key is compassion. These are humans and they're about to have a traumatic experience. They are going to be having their life altered and changed, and make them feel like they are missing out or losing. And that is really hard for them. They can't expect to have a paycheck every month. They have to think about their bills they have to pay for, their mortgages. And so the key is just being compassionate towards them. Let them know that we're there for them and not being too being too rude and just be like, yeah, we're done with them. We have to make sure that we care about them because they are good employees. And we want to make sure that they're talking well about us. The next thing is being honest. We need to be honest with them. We can't just talk around and be like, and be like, oh, this, and like kind of give them the nice version of it. We just have to be honest and be like, this is what's happening. This is what we're dealing with, and we have to adapt these times. And this is what has come to the best decision for the company. And then lastly, we have to have respect. And so having respect will be key because they need to know that we respect them so that we don't look at them. Their confidence is going to be low. And so we need to make sure that we not just trash them, we need to build them up. And so I put together two options for how we should lay them off. I believe that we should have the managers, the 10 of them, take 4 to 5 people and talk to them in small groups to let them know that what is going on. That way, everyone's knowing at the same time, but it's not a big group being wild. It's 4 to 5 people, and we'll make sure that it's done in a nice way that show these three aspects of compassion, being honest, and respect. I believe that we should go and have the managers tell them, and after they tell them, offer one-on-one meetings to help them answer any extra questions or to help them let out their feelings on it. The biggest thing we want to do is we don't want to start a riot there. We don't want everyone to gang up and be mad. We want to make sure we split them up for that. The other option is we could tell them one by one, but that risk is that we have one employee tell the other employees that cuts are happening, that they're all losing their job, and then anger is stirred up by the time you get to the last person. They already know what's going on and they're angry at you. And instead of having that conversation with them to explain yourself, they're just in anger mode and will not latch on. So I believe out of the two options, the best way is to split them up into small groups and have them be talked to and lay them off and have these three components. The biggest thing is how can we help them? We need to realize these guys didn't do anything wrong. It's just the times and what is happening. So I have put together some options on how we can help them. We need to offer them letters of recommendations. They may be the warehouse workers, and there's 45 of them. But sir, if you write them a letter of recommendation, it will give them hope. It will give them light, and it will make them be happy with you. I mean, we want to make sure that we don't have 45 ex-employees hating us. We want to make sure we do this so they still want to be a part of the team and be part of the family. We want to offer them resume help. Doing this will help them look at their future and be organized and have someone they can talk to. And doing this also, it helps knowing that if you work here, you can move on to bigger and greater things. You're not just stuck here. So the more they get better jobs after us, it'll help the employee grow. And the other thing we can help them is we can talk about their progression. Like I said earlier, their confidence are going to be really low, and we need to make sure that we're not just trying to get rid of them and make them feel bad about themselves. We want to make sure that they know how they've grown and the great job they have done, and make sure that they feel confidence still. Reward. So we have that risk I talked earlier about people not committing to work till April 2nd to the complete closure of the company. I feel that if we reward them with half a month's pay, that even though they're only working 2 days a month, if we just give them the rest of their paycheck they'd have for 2 weeks, one, it'd be efficient motivation for them to want to do the work, and two, it will help them be able to have some hope and be able to keep paying their bills for 2 weeks while they try and figure things out. And sir, doing this, you will still save money because you would have paid a full month of rent if you would have kept them on board. But for these workers that show up to work till April 2nd, they will at least get half the month of rent. So you would have saved half the amount of money that you would have paid, but you still help a lot of people and make sure that they feel loved and not hurt, and they're doing well after us. So that's one of the rewards I feel like we can help to keep them there at April 2nd. And the employees that don't show up to work, their punishment, or not punishment, but they won't deserve their half month of pay, and they can get all the other help that we're offering, but just focus on helping those, giving the reward to employees that stay is what I believe is most important. Work communications. So for our channel of communication, I believe we should do meetings. A lot of people are going to be angry and have questions that need to be answered. And I believe that if we tried like any video, we could do video meetings, but be prepared that a lot of people are going to try and talk at once and be frustrated. And 45 people is a lot of people. We can do meetings in person and make sure that that everyone's controlled. We make sure that we hear everyone out and talk to them, and make sure that we're able to have a communication with them. We just want to make sure that everyone can feel that their voice is being heard and that they know that this is not because of what they've done, but the situation and the best way to communicate. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. I know that this is a rough time, and I know you want to handle this the best and with most respect. And I believe that I've given you a couple options here today to help us get through this and make sure that we're doing well in the future, and that we don't have any long-lasting impacts of negativity come towards our company. Thank you for this, and I hope you have a good idea a good day, and you know how to reach me if you have any more questions. Thank you.